Peace, world. This is Lionel, aka Mr. Metaphysics. I just got interviewed by Keith Andrews and the Keith Andrew Network. It was I had a great time. He asked me some great questions. The vibe was great. He's a great interviewer. You should check him out, man. All right. Like I said, make it work. Mr. Metaphysics, Metaphysics Fitness. Keith Andrews, that's my boy. All right, we locked in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Keith Andrew, and this is another edition of the holiday episode of the Keith Andrew Network, available on YouTube, Facebook, and all social medias. It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means? If you're a fan of WWE, now available on the CW. That's right, on the CW, you can watch WWE NXT. If you're a fan, definitely check that out. If you don't have CW, that's fine. You can watch WWE available on Peacock. Today, it's episode 74, On the Road to 200. We're here with a great guest. He already introduced himself. So the first first subject we're going to talk about is icebreakers. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Lionel Wallington. I also go professionally as Mr. Metaphysics. I'm a father, first and foremost, of two 22-year-old boys, Kai and Kobe. They're my world. Outside of that, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a professional bodybuilder. Also have a PhD in exercise science and anatomy. And I am also a fitness model and an actor.
No, absolutely. Now, do you have your own business, or are you just a trainer at a gym?
I actually have my own business, Metaphysics Fitness. I train a multitude of clients, ranging from different skill sets, different intermediate, beginner, advanced, different levels that require different things. Some people want to lose weight, some people want to gain muscle. I also work with autistic clients as well, from the severely nonverbal all the way to high functioning and everything in between.
No, that's wonderful. And I do have some great ideas I want to talk. Actually, I can say it right now. For $50 a month, $50 a month, anyone who's a singer, a producer, a book author, have their own companies for $50 a month. You can buy airtime. You can also use it for IMDb credit, and you can have all your messages shared on the Keith Andrew Network. Now, I know you have your own company. I would love to work with you. We can definitely talk about that off the air. So the first question I want to talk to you about is, who influenced you to become a bodybuilder, and how did you start your own company?
Well, my influence for life, not just bodybuilders. My grandfather always been my grandfather. My grandfather's been the biggest inspiration and motivator in my life. He raised me. He was a World War II veteran, and he instilled a lot of principles in me that still exist to this day. And pretty much the makeup of the man that you see today is nothing short of a result of his work and his upbringing. So everything that I do is to not only glorify him and respect him, but also my sister as well. My younger sister, Tasha, she passed away from cystic fibrosis. And her motto was, I don't get tired. She was operating with a quarter of one lung due to her condition that she was born with. She ran track. She was a model. She did a whole bunch of things that people said that she, quote unquote, couldn't do. And so her motto was, I don't get tired. So I picked up the torch for my sister and my grandfather. And a motto of my company, Metaphysics Fitness, we say, make it work. Because at the end of the day, no matter what your circumstance is, everybody individually is going through what they're going through in life, but you gotta make it work. And making it work is different for any and everybody, but you gotta make it work.
Absolutely right. Well, first off, thank you for your grandfather's service. And actually, my grandfather served in World War II as well.
Oh, nice. Thank you for your service as well. Yep.
Do
A lot
you
of my family
remember?
members is military.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, a lot of my family members, I would say, is military.
Do you
Different
remember
branches of the
what?
military.
Do you remember what branch of the Army your grandfather was in?
Of course, he was in the Navy. He was
Oh,
on
nice.
USS Iowa, BB 216. I remember everything. Yeah. He actually was President MacArthur's chef on the USS Iowa. True story.
Oh, that's really wonderful. My grandfather, he was in engineering. The only things I remember, he never liked talking about it. Was your grandfather the same? Did he like talking about it, or he just didn't keep talking about it?
There's certain aspects of war that I'm sure many soldiers don't want to go to because it would cause some sort of PTSD. But he did tell stories of his time in the war. But I'm sure there were certain stories that he kept under the cuff just for his own sanity. You know what I mean? I could just imagine going to war and having to see what they've seen on a daily basis for as long as they've seen it. It can change a person. So I'm sure they kept some things under the hat. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. My grandfather served in northern Italy and northern Africa. I remember he brought back a couple knives from World War II. I saw some pictures, but he never really talked about it. Like you said, I guess it depends on the person. War is not a beautiful thing. So it does screw you up mentally. So luckily, my grandfather never had any burst out moments, but it's now we have like therapy for people who served in the Army. And here on the Keith Andrew Network, we have interviewed people who served in the Army, Navy, Air Force. So here on the Keith Andrew Network, we're a big supporter of them. But let me ask you, what were some of your favorite stories that your grandfather shared with you about in World War II?
Some of the stories that he told me is waking up early in the morning, going on marches with the equipment, some of the cadences and the things they used to say just to keep morale high. He also told me about different drills that they had them doing as far as being blindfolded, being able to disassemble a handgun and be able to put it back together in under 2 minutes, things like that. Being thrown in water, deep water with your equipment on and having to swim half a mile to shore as an exercise in case something happened on the ship and they had to fend for themselves in the water. Being in a foxhole for 2 or 3 days, things like that. He told me a lot of stories. He did, indeed. That was one of my greatest memories is just the stories that he told. I mean, because he instilled a lot in me just through talking. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. That's when people tell stories, it isn't just how you tell the story. It's if you're okay. I'll give you an example. When we were in school, we had teachers when we were born as shit, and it's freedom of speech. You can say anything you want. We had teachers when were born as hell, and yet there are other people that told you a story, and you were excited to hear. You couldn't wait. What happened next?
Right.
What was your experience like in school? Did you have any teachers that, oh man, I can't wait to get away from this person, or I can't wait till I am back in this class again?
I'm sure I had a little bit of both. I had a math. I know for a fact. I had a math teacher in high school, and it wasn't just me. She was well known for just being real disagreeable, having a bad disposition, bad attitude. Let's just say it like that. And being nice. Just really not pleasant to be around. Plus, her physical demeanor kind of added to the attitude, if you understand what I'm saying. So she was just a big, nasty presence in the school, and just nothing. Even if you got everything right on the test, she would critique how you wrote the date. She was just like that. And I just couldn't wait. I had 1 year with her, which was 9th grade, and I just refused to deal with her again. I refused to. I remember that time in 11th grade, they tried to give me her again for another math class, and I just refused. I said, no, I'm not taking that class.
All right.
Yeah, so that was about it. But from the most part, what I can say is through my education, I was blessed enough to have some real good educators, that were there not only for the paycheck, but were there for the passion and for the results of seeing kids do well and progress. So I don't really have too many horror stories about having bad teachers, even in college. Like I said, I was blessed to have some real good educators on many different levels.
Let me ask you this. going back to the first question, what attracted you to start your own business? Who influenced you to become a professional actor?
Well, like I said, this goes back to my grandfather. He, and like, as a, going partially back to what we talked about before, as a World War II veteran, he took his GI Bill and opened up 5 businesses. He had a limousine company, he had a trucking company. He was into real estate. He owned 2 or 3 houses. He was an entrepreneur. So I always seen that firsthand growing up. You know what I mean? So that was always in my mind, But as far as bodybuilding, is that what your question was? As far as who influenced me with bodybuilding? My influence with bodybuilding really comes from me finding a place, because sometimes the world gets loud, right? So me finding a place that I can take controlled aggression, and it's a perfect environment for that. There's a lot of places and a lot of environments where it's not apropos to get angry or do things out of frustration or express anger, other than the boxing gym, martial arts gym, in which I'm a martial artist since I was 4, or like the gym where you're lifting weights. So being a competitive athlete and a former professional basketball player, I've always been competitive. So what's the best thing to be competitive with yourself? Because with bodybuilding, unlike team sports that I'm accustomed to, like basketball, it's only you. So if you don't eat right, if you don't maintain a consistent work ethic and a program and see it through, you're not going to see results. You know what I'm saying? It's you versus you every time you go in there. And that's the beauty of bodybuilding. And the beauty of bodybuilding too is that our bodies are like clay, and through diet and exercise and positive thinking, you could actually change your physical body. In doing so, you will change your physical well-being, because it's a scientific fact. When you change your body, you change your mind. Your mind will change. So you're having a physical and a physiological effect. Not to mention that it actually extends your life on this planet. So it has multitude of benefits. So for me, it was an easy transition to be competitive with the weights. And it was an outlet for me to take out frustration when the world got me frustrated and I wanted to be angry. But this was a controlled environment in which it's cool to do that. You can throw weights around the gym. You can grunt, if the weight's too heavy. You can let all that out. So it was a perfect place for me.
Hey, if I ever need a bodyguard, I definitely hit you up.
Yeah, I got you, man. Won't nobody touch you.
But with that being said, you're a pretty big guy, and I'm looking at my reflections. Like, I really need to get my shit together. But have you ever thought about being a professional wrestler?
I have not. But as a kid, though, me and you can have conversations for hours about wrestling. That's in my wheelhouse. Like, I was just in my storage unit, and I was looking for the VHS tape of the WrestleMania where Jake the Snake Roberts put the snake on Andre the Giant, and he had like the fake heart attack and fell. Remember that one?
I remember.
Yeah. So I go back to that. I go back to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Coco Beware, Papa Shango, like Kamala. I could keep going. So I used to watch wrestling hard body as a kid.
I'm gonna throw this out to you. Would you be interested in creating our own wrestling show?
Based about what? Commentary talking about it?
A will of everything about what you like about wrestling stories.
Yeah, I was actually watching, like, Tubi got a whole bunch of them. So yeah, I don't really have many people that actually can talk about wrestling too. You know what I mean? But I'd be open to talk about that. You know what I mean? Plus for me, being a personal trainer, I'm usually discussing the same thing. So for me, I pride myself on being like an intellectual. I like stimulating conversations. So that would be a stimulating conversation to have with a like-minded individual. So I'm open to it, for sure.
Absolutely. You help me, I help you, and I would love to work with you.
Yeah, man. The stories for days. If you already know you're a wrestling fan, there's so many stories and there's so many conversations you can have just on one character alone, let alone the entire history of the what is now the WWE, and before it was that, when it was a little local areas, before Vince McMahon started pulling the little wrestlers from the little local areas. You know what I'm saying? Playing hardball. So we can talk about all that.
Absolutely. Now it is a holiday themed episode. What are you thankful for the holidays, and what are your dreams that you want to happen for the holidays?
Um, I feel like as far as Thanksgiving just passed, I feel thankful every day. Unlike everybody else, can't speak for nobody else, but for me, my grandfather raised me to be thankful every day. So when Thanksgiving came around, it wasn't an asterisk put on a calendar, let's just say for that one particular day. Because we always, was in the group chats, always talking to each other on a regular basis, knowing what's going on, staying in the loop with each other. And just my grandfather let me know early, like every day above ground is a beautiful day. So I'm thankful for everything, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely. Now we have a joke in our family. We like to make jokes for everything, but my grandfather I can speak. My grandfather on well, I can't even think of the freaking word. Holy shit! My grandfather passed away on
Mhm.
Christmas Eve, so unfortunately, that was the word I
Sorry to
was
hear
trying to get. Um, the joke is like my grandfather passed away on Christmas Eve. Unfortunately, he killed Christmas for us.
that. That's a pretty good though. That's a pretty good one though. I like that. I like that. I like the fact that y'all can be humorous, find some humor in that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that too. As a family, that's good that y'all got that.
No, absolutely. And it doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Christian. It's a nice time of the year. I've been saying this since I was a kid. Christmas and Hanukkah should be on the same day, so you have something to do and no one's left out. Because you have Hanukkah in the beginning of the month, and then you have
Yeah.
Christmas at the end.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like, well, you had your time. What am I
Well,
supposed to do now?
I completely agree. But this is one of the reasons for me. Um, like formally, I never celebrated Christmas as a child, and I always had tons of different types of friends from everywhere. Jamaica, Jewish friend, Italian friend, like it was like that growing up. So I saw a lot of things. So even as a child growing up, I would say happy holidays. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't just box myself in and ostracize nobody around the holidays. I would just say happy holidays. You know what I'm saying? That is all inclusive. You know what I mean? As a father right now, growing up, um, I celebrate Kwanzaa. I don't know if you're familiar. Are you?
I heard of it.
Yeah. So Kwanzaa is basically, it doesn't have anything to do with religion. It's basically about culture, family, community. It's based on principles that each day is based on. It's 7 days, like Hanukkah. So it's 7 days, and it's based on seven principles. And each day is a different principle that teaches a different lesson. And the children get gifts. They still get gifts. But the only caveat to that is each gift must be accompanied by an educational toy or a book or something that will stimulate the mind as well. That's it. But other than that, we still put up decorations and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the only caveat to that.
Actually, that's a good idea. So you get a gift, but it's educational, so it's not garbage.
Yeah. So the gift has to be useful in some sort to the mind, body, and soul. So you could give a book, you could give something that could do something to do with school, you can give money, clothes, all those things are applicable. But just to give a toy that serves no purpose other than dumbing down or slowing down learning or growing somehow, nah. Because technically you have all year round to get that. You got your birthday to get that. You got other days throughout the year where you can get that.
Absolutely. So the next one I want to talk to you about is social media. What's the big news going around? How do you feel about TikTok being banned, and do you think it should be banned?
Mm. Yeah, I'm hearing TikTok's supposed to be banned in January. Well, I use TikTok and social media in general for business purposes. I don't really use it for personal reasons. Um, so for me, I can take it or leave it, really. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, it's kind of new to me too, because I come from the business card era where you hand somebody a business card or you send somebody an email. So this is just social media for me is just a digital business card. But I do feel like TikTok being banned. I mean, the United States, is trying to obviously institute a little more control over what supposedly other countries have access to via data. But to me, at this point, there's been so many data breaches, even Homeland. Who knows who got what? So I wouldn't say TikTok is necessarily the problem. You know what I'm saying? I feel that the problem existed way before the advent of TikTok. If you really ask me, if you want to be honest. If we're being honest with society, what's going on now, like eliminating TikTok is not going to do anything to raise the morale of society. So the problems with society that we're experiencing and we see existed far before TikTok, in my opinion.
I'm not a fan of Trump. I can't stand. Some things it was Trump. I agree. Other things I can just. He's not a nice person. But going back to what you said, the business cards, I actually do have my own business cards.
Me too. I still got mine. Brother. And the same reason why I still buy physical books. I don't download books. It's the same reason, for that same reason. You know, in this world, you still got to maintain being a human being. You got to be tangible. Everything can't be digital. You know what I'm saying? You got to maintain some tangible. We still live in a tangible world. So you still got to be able to reach out and touch things. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. A couple months ago, the internet went down. I think Optimum went down. And they're like, oh, what are we supposed to do? We can't watch TV. Oh, my God, I don't know. And you have a DVD player. You have DVDs.
What happened to board games? Pick up a book.
Yeah.
You know, kids don't even go outside no more, man. I drive by empty basketball courts and parks all summer long. Kids don't be outside.
Personally, this is how I see it. If you're a kid that's 5 to, what's a good age? 18, you don't need social media. The only reason you should have social media, if you're in the entertainment world, you're a singer, you're a writer, you want to start your own company, great, you have social media. Other than that, keep your kids off social media and you won't have so much shit going around.
Like right now, and what's crazy is companies are capitalizing off TikTok being banned. So now what's the next move? Instagram now is approving teen accounts because they know the majority of the demographics that's on TikTok, 13 to 19, 13 to 21. So now if TikTok's being banned, who's going to get the influx of new driven content? Now, guess who's stock? Instagram stock about to go right back up as soon as TikTok get banned. That's why he's having all these commercials and they're doing this marketing push with the whole Instagram teen accounts. Okay? You can't fix the problem because everything that exists on TikTok is just going to go right to Instagram.
You can't fix stupid by getting them with a 2x4.
You can say that again. That's a fact. You can say that again. You know.
I actually went to YouTube and I said, "Can you tell me alternatives to TikTok?" And there's Clapper and and I'm like, okay, I give it a try. I went on kid after kid after kid. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Excuse my language. And by its freedom of speech, I'm like, what the hell is this? This is this. Yes, it's TikTok, but don't you have limits? It's this is why there's kids and social media do not mix, and and people abuse it, and that's the problem.
But you're right though, because if you remember when when Facebook first came out, you had to be in college. I remember that because I was in college. So I remember when Facebook first came out, you had to be in college because your email had to be connected to an EDU. So you could not just create a Facebook account if you were not a college student.
Sometimes the old ways are better.
I keep saying it. People be trying to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to do that. The wheel is perfectly fine the way it is. It rolls the way it needs to roll. The functionality of the wheel is fine. People do not need to reinvent the wheel. That is the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. This Saturday, if you're available, you and your kids and your family are welcome. This Saturday at 8 p.m., we're doing a holiday episode, just like what we're doing, but it's going to be holiday-based. I would love to invite you if you're able to make it.
Okay, for sure.
Now, the next one I want to actually wrapping up our show is called Song of the Day. What song did you listen to today? And what is one of your favorite music bands?
What song I listened to today that sticks out, because I listen to music all day. But a song that I listened to today that sticks out for me was Bob Marley, Redemption Song. That song has always held a special place for me because it's such a powerful song, even though it's only like two minutes. You see what I'm saying? It only has two verses and then a guitar riff. But the words in between those 2 minutes are so powerful that I think they apply to everybody in certain situations in their life. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, talking about what we were talking about Trump and TikTok, it kind of plays into that whole vibe of where we go next. And remember, he did this in the 70s. So he's asking on the song, the question is, where as a people are we going next? Where as a society where do we go next? And I think that's a valid question to ask. You know what I'm saying? To put a cap on what we were just talking about. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now, my last question for you is, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes, and how do you feel now?
What made me say yes? For a couple reasons. I'm always trying to brand awareness for myself, visibility. The other reason is because I saw you like any other interviewer that wanted content and was interested in my story. And anybody that takes an interest in me, I respect it. It's a respect level because there's so many people in the world. So for you to want to take time out your day to ask me questions about little old me, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it. And I take this just as serious as I would if I was being interviewed by Maury Povich or Oprah. There's no different levels. You know what I mean? So I was grateful for the opportunity. I'm still grateful for the opportunity and possibly more in the future. So yeah, that's the reason, a couple reasons.
And would you recommend it to anyone who are hesitant about being on my show? Because you didn't know me for a hole in the wall. So
correct. But we had a conversation. We had a conversation on Facebook, and I'm a straight shooter. So I like dealing with, I mean, what I'm saying, I'm a straight shooter. I'm honest. I'm not going to bullshit you. You know what I mean? Pardon my French, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to mislead you because I believe that's too much of that going on in the world. I don't need to be adding on to that. So I'm going to give it to you raw. You know what I'm saying? No cut, unfiltered. Hopefully you're an adult enough to take it and realize that it's not from a mean, offensive perspective, and we can have a great relationship. So with that being said, we had a conversation and you gave it to me who you were as raw as a person. You didn't put up a facade, and you were a direct person as well. So you talked direct, and I feel that we had a good conversation, a good rapport. So based on that, I was like, damn, I can only imagine what type of questions he's going to ask, what type of conversation we're going to have. Because automatically, when you told me who you were, I kind of identified with that, and I kind of told you we had a back and forth, and we kind of reached an understanding, I think. So, you know, that's why.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but this episode will be shared on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all social medias. Our goal is to reach 500 and more views. We will definitely do a part 2, but wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I can't wait for part 2. So until we meet again, and catch you later, and happy holidays.
You as well, brother.
On my show, it's supporting me, and my message is all that matters.